Force feedback has been out for a long time now, but one question has still remained unanswered. Does the Moza AB6 really make a difference in the world of flight simulation? Well, in this video, we're going to put that to the test with the Moza AB6 base and the MHG grip. For the sake of today's video, we're going to be using War Thunder and Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024. These are both native with the force feedback software for Moza, and I think will work really well for this video. So without further ado, let's hop into War Thunder and test our luck with the F-16. One interesting feature that I did notice when I started advancing the throttles is that once I did so, MHG flight stick began to vibrate. This is a key detail to when you're flying a real aircraft, seeing that you would most definitely feel afterburner vibrations. This is the great thing about force feedback, because you'll feel engine vibrations, afterburner, turbulence, landing gear flaps, stalls, all of that. You will feel it in the game realistically, which is why I'm already loving force feedback. And if you did not know, the F-16 is a force-sensing aircraft, meaning that you do not have to put a lot of force into actually moving the aircraft's ailerons and elevators. And surprisingly, the Moza AB6 replicates that really well. When I'm flying straight and level or making small turns, I barely have to move the stick for it to do a turn, which is something that not a lot of aircraft have. Since most fighter aircrafts are mechanical, the F-16 is fly-by-wire, meaning that you do not have to put in as much pressure. And as you just saw about 30 seconds earlier, I did fire an AIM-9 at an enemy aircraft. The AB6 also replicates that really well. You can feel a big vibration when the missile fires off of your aircraft, which is a great feature, and of course is necessary if you want force feedback. I will also say, when you're trying to do deep or heavy banks or turns or loops or anything heavy like that requires a lot of force, it is actually difficult to push the force feedback into letting you do it. And pulling that hard on the stick actually takes a lot of force, which is really pleasantly surprising, seeing that it is a cheaper version of force feedback compared to its big brother AB9. Now let's go ahead and try and land the F-16 and see how the vibrations kick in the Moza AB6 when we're landing. It is also very nice to feel the air brakes extending. This is a great feature, seeing it provides a lot of vibration and makes the stick feel heavier while flying when the air brakes are out. To be honest, I was a little disappointed with how it did feel on landing, but after I applied brakes, it started to shake. I expected it to have a bump when I landed, but that just seemed to not happen. It isn't a huge game changer without that landing part of force feedback, but obviously when you get force feedback, you expect everything to be implemented into it. But for me, it's not that big of a deal. Let's move on from the F-16 and try a more mechanical aircraft like the A-10 Warthog. This will give us a better feel of how we apply pressure on the Moza AB6 instead of fly-by-wire, which really does make a difference, and it doesn't use all of the force feedback. But if you didn't know, the AB6 is mechanical, paired with a mechanical aircraft, which should work really well. Instantly, when I started flying the A-10, I felt a more noticeable vibration in everything I did. Along with that, I had to make bigger movements to actually make a change in the aircraft's direction, unlike the F-16. I prefer this way of flying. It feels more native and more mechanical, which obviously it is. Now I'm going to equip my 2,000-pound bombs and see if they make vibrations when dropping those on ground targets. I will be surprised if it doesn't make vibrations, seeing that it is a very small detail, but for most people looking for a realistic force feedback experience, that would be a huge and unpleasant change. Let's move on now to Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024, where we will be trying also the A-10 Warthog and the F-18 Hornet. I believe these will perform well in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024, seeing that that game has a better profile for physics. Starting off with the A-10, the vibrations are already more noticeable than War Thunder in general. This is a huge step up, and I can really feel everything from the engine vibrations all the way to the small turbulence changes. Additionally, as we go into a stall or a hard AOA bank, the stick begins to shake because the wings are under stress. This is a really neat feature, and it makes the aircraft hard to control while in flight, which is good for force feedback. And you can tell that it also becomes noticeably harder when pulling back on the stick once your AOA becomes higher. This, of course, does happen in real life, seeing that high AOA banks or turns or loops or whatever puts stress on the airframe of the aircraft, making it more harder to control. And as we begin to enter a stall here, you can see that the MHD flight stick begins to shake violently, which is very realistic and is a great feature that they implemented. And the stick will continue to shake until you are out of that stall. Overall, for the A10 Warthog, I am very pleasantly surprised how Moza created this profile for it. I did not have to change any settings for this plane. It is all native to Moza's software and to Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024. Let's move on now to the F-18 Hornet. I'm excited for this plane, seeing that it does have afterburners and a higher AOA limit, meaning we'll get to feel the Moza AB6's full strength. Surprisingly, there was only a small vibration on takeoff, unlike the F-16 and War Thunder, but when I retracted the gear, there was a huge vibration and shake from the MHD flight stick. But like the F-16, it is fly-by-wire, so we will feel less of a mechanical feel, but I can still feel the huge vibrations from the afterburner of the F-18, which is a huge plus. On top of that, like the A10, I can feel the huge vibrations from the turbulence, seeing that I have the weather set to rainy and a bit windy. This is just native to Microsoft Flight Simulator, seeing that they have a very good physics model. And on top of that, using the AB6, which has its own physics model, combined makes a really great physics model with good vibration. So overall, force feedback really just depends on the game you're using. For example, War Thunder had some great features but lacked in some areas, and same with Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024. But if you are big into combat flying or even flying airliners or general aviation and anything like that, and you want to feel the actual real feel of the aircraft, then I would definitely suggest getting force feedback or something other than just a free gimbal flight stick. There are plenty of cheap-ish bases out there, like for example the AB6, which comes at around $400, and even the Thrustmaster HOTAS base, which isn't great, but it works. So in my opinion, if you're looking for a cheap version of force feedback instead of getting the expensive AB9 base, I would definitely suggest getting the AB6, seeing that it does come with the MHD flight stick, which has all the necessary buttons you need for combat flying, and of course if you want to use it for general aviation or flying airliners, that works too. I'd like to thank Moza for sending me the AB6 product to review and make videos on, so huge thanks to them. I did provide a completely non-biased, in my opinion, review on the product. I did review the product in a different video. This is more of a demonstration of what the product feels like in different flight simulators. If you're looking to buy the AB6, there will be a link in the description for where you can purchase it. Thank you for watching. I really hope you guys enjoyed the video, so stick around for our next one next weekend.